Paul, what's the latest on David Gray's injury?
Yeah, so significant knee ligament damage, his medial ligament, so he's going to be 12 weeks-ish in a brace for the next 5-6 weeks. So yeah, it's a blow. It's the same knee, but it's a new injury. You can just see from the collision. It's I think as Scott's gone to challenge the lad, he's sort of pushed him over and he's fallen into David's knee. Just one of them freakish things that, he's just got over one thing and then another one on top of it. So yeah, we feel for him. It's not ideal for us in terms of positions where we like, but we just have to get on with it.
Must be really frustrating, as you say. Already light in defence with Tom James out, McGregor. How much of a struggle is it to cope with those injuries at the moment?
No, it's not a struggle because we've done it before. When we had last season when we came in, we were really light at the back, and we had spells where both the centre backs, Darren and Paul, were the only ones available for selection, but they weren't trained as well. They were carrying injuries, so we've had it before. We'll get through it. The problem we've had is that none of those players. So David missed his pre-season, Lewis missed his pre-season, and we've had to throw him straight back in. And David's got another freakish injury, so it's a blow for him. Just as he was starting to build up his fitness. So not ideal. Darren as well. So at the minute we're light there, definitely. But we've got Ryan coming back, who forward is progressing well. So yeah, if we can get through the international break and get, I'm not sure how long Darren will be out, but certainly get Ryan and Tom back up to selection, then we'll be pleased.
So Ryan Porteous was on the bench at the weekend. Is he still just a bit off starting for the first team, do you think?
Well, he's just missed pre-season, so it'd be one of them. If we throw him in, is he medically fit? Yeah. Physically fit and up to match speed? No, but it'll be a while because he's been out a long time. So I think probably even when we do put Ryan in, he's not going to be 100% to the level he was before he got injured. And he'll have to catch up while he's playing his games. Again, they're the little problems when you're not getting a pre-season, but he'll be fine. He's looking good.
Looking back at the result at the weekend, obviously a tough one to take. How long does the sort of disappointment of that linger in the squad?
It's still there now for me, until you get the next game. So yeah, anytime you concede the way we did right at the end, it's a blow, and it feels bad. But I had to remind the players after the game that they were really down. But I reminded them that it's a draw. It's a point closer to where we want to be. Still only lost one game all season, and they have to look at it that way. The nature of how we conceded is a blow. And we will look at it. In all honesty, as we've lost 2 points near the end. We'd love to be sitting on 6. We're not. We're on 4. So I think it's more the nature of it that sits bad with you until you get another win.
One player who impressed at the weekend, Flo Canberry. How hopeful are you of keeping him here beyond the deadline?
Yeah, hopeful. I've always been hopeful. So just have to wait and see what pans out. He's come back pre-season looking fit, looking sharp, wanting to do well. We obviously pushed him on his consistency last year, and we'll continue pushing him on that. But at the minute, he's performing well, and we want to keep him up there. And he knows that, and he wants to stay up there, so that's all we're bothered about, all we're working towards. The problem is you get to a level, and if we keep that consistency, then he probably won't be our player. Someone will try and get him. So we're hopeful we keep him, we want to keep him, but we'll have to just wait and see. We've got a few more days left yet.
FC Basel were named as one of the teams who have been looking at Flo. Was there ever any communication from them? Was there ever any discussions?
Well, we knew they were looking, but that's as far as it went. There was no communication, no offer, no dialogue, nothing like that. So we know as much as you guys.
I guess when we see headlines like Basel no longer looking at, is that sort of thing that you become relieved about, that there doesn't appear to be anything impending with Flo?
Yes, yeah, you do, but also it's ongoing all the time. There'll be other teams watching him now. But we get asked about the ones that come out in the media, in the press. So yeah, tick that one off. He's not going there. There might be something else happens in the next few days, which, like I said, I want to have him. I want to keep him here, but sometimes it's out of your control.
Let's go back to last weekend and the anxiety and the noise from the crowd, and your thoughts on it afterwards. Were you still quite surprised at just how anxious and on edge the home crowd was?
Yeah, so when we're winning 1-0 and we make a sub, I understand that they didn't like the sub, get that, you know. Scott Allen, good player, technically one of our most talented players. And I understand that, but we were winning 1-0, yeah, so. And I was questioning the players. I was trying to, at half time, I speak to the players about we need to play more, get on the ball more, move the ball, be brave, be strong. And I already thought there was a bit of an anxiousness in our performance as a group. So I think there was both. I think then there was anxiety from the crowd, the reaction to me taking Scott off then, it looks like, you watch the game back, it looks like it transfers onto the players. And as much as I'll challenge our crowd and tell our crowd how much we need them and we all want the same, we all want to win, to get behind the boys, the same challenge is down to the players that happens, get on with it. You have to be tough enough, you have to be strong enough, you have to be able to deal with that. The higher up you want to go, the higher up you want to play, more and more scrutiny comes your way. So, it was I thought from the start, an anxious performance. Some bits were good, some bits weren't so good, but the big criticism for me of our performance was us with the ball. I thought we could have been better.
Yes, I wasn't there, but it was interesting in that this has happened at other clubs in Scotland this year as well, and Hearts and Craig Levine's been talking about it. Neil Lennon's got under a lot of pressure after the Champions League match. There's been pressure on Derek McInnes and Alessio at Kilmarnock as well. It seems to be something that's happening, at not every club, but a lot of clubs. There's a lot of anxiety coming from the stands.
Listen, lots of it. It's the nature of the job. If you're sitting here in this chair, it's the nature of the job. It's part of it. You can't be in this job without facing it, 100%. I've also seen, even in the 4 years that I've been doing this, I've seen a massive shift in how much, I won't say scrutiny is the right word, but because of social media and so many platforms out there for everybody to have a view, and everybody get a voice, which is fine, which is good, but it puts more emphasis, if you like, and adds more weight to everybody's opinion, and you have got to be, as a football club, as an organisation, you've got to be strong and make sure you're really clear in what you want to do and how you want to do it, because a lot of it you've got to block out as a noise. And I understand that. I saw Craig's comments about it, where my take on it is when things are going well, so we had good things said about us at the end of last season, but we're never that good. Just like you might have bad things said about this week, we're never that bad. You're always somewhere in the middle, and you've got to be prepared for it. You've got to handle it, just like the players, everybody has. But you've always got to put it in perspective as well. You've got to understand that everybody wants to win, everybody wants to push, but a lot of it is just stuff that it's just because everybody can have an opinion now. Everybody can say things. Everybody has got that voice where they weren't listened to so many years ago. Now they can type something and they listen to it, and get a response. And I think it'll continue to go that way, even more so. You look at media now, and a lot of the experts that's on football shows are YouTubers or social media people, because they've got the following, they've got the status with young fans. Soon there'll be managers on a Sky game who's won the Premier League or an FA Cup, and the fans won't know who they are. They'll know the social media lads sat at the side of him, and they'll listen to him more. That's the way we're going.
Is it difficult to block out, as you say, there are opinions coming from ex-players and fans and from everywhere? Is it difficult to block out, or even just filter what opinions you are hearing?
No, because listen, if you've been in football and played, and you've been judged since you're that big, you've been judged, and everyone's had an opinion on you. He's rubbish, he's good, he's going to be the best player in the world. How much of it's actually turned out? How much of it's actually been true? So you sort of get used to it, thick-skinned, and it is part of being in football. As a player, coach, manager, it's part of being in football. Fan, it's part of being in it. We're all football fans as well, or majority of us are, and you all want your team to win, and you feel passionate about them. And like I say, it's just the landscape that's changing in how things are represented, I think.
Leading on from that, and also taking it back to the game, I know you joked after the game about the rule about Scott Allen not being allowed to be taken off at Easter Road. That provoked quite a reaction. Some views from ex-pros Jackie McNamara as well, saying that you potentially owe Hibs fans an apology. What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
No, it was a bit tongue in cheek when I said it, but I certainly didn't mean to be flippant by it. But the more you think about it, the more I say. If I say it now, like having thought about it, it's true what I said, that Scott will be brought off again. You know, we work with him every day. We know what he's like. We know if he's been carrying things in training. We know if he's been. We know all these things, you know, and we're also well aware that Scott's pushed himself since knowing he was coming back. Not just as someone pushed himself, and he's got to a level of fitness where, arguably, you'd say he's up there where he's not been before, which is great. But he's also not played a lot of games, and we want him fit all the time. We want him on the pitch as often as we possibly can. We've challenged him in ways to be higher up the pitch and get more goals, more assists, and we'll continue to do that. You know, so yeah, it was said in a bit of jest after the game, but that's the truth behind it. You know, it will happen again. But we know what a good player he is. He does, and in some ways, I want him to be protected from that. He wants to be part of a winning team. He wants to be seen as a good teammate, I wouldn't want him to be set apart from anybody else. I wouldn't, for his sake, for the sake of the other players, for the sake of the team. He wants to be part of the group and part of the squad, you know, and work just as hard, if not harder, and lead by example. So, yeah, would I have said it again? There's no need, because I've said it now, do you know what I mean? But that's my thoughts behind it, that it will happen again, no doubt, no doubt.
On Scott's positional play at the weekend as well, I think you deployed him out on the right a bit more rather than centrally to obviously bring out the best in Canberra. But what did you make of his performance, and is that a tactic you'd be looking to use again?
Scott or Flo, both.
Yeah, well, Scott on the right.
Yeah, he stayed too wide for us, you know, he knows. So you might also, we actually put him in that, he won us the game from that position against St Mirren, you know. His best moments came on Saturday when he comes in field. So how did it benefit us? So when he's there, we want him to move to attract the left back, and if you see, we always got Flo in then down the side the centre back. So in that respect, it really helped Flo. Where we couldn't get Scott on the ball enough because we didn't pass the ball well enough for long enough periods to get him behind their midfield. When we did, the best moment of the game for us second half, when he came in behind, Flo let the ball over, Scott on half turn played dodgy, and that's where we wanted him. So yeah, he's played there before, he knows it. He also knows that I want him on the pitch as often as I can, especially when you're behind or you're needing goals, and we want to be able to then have as many different options with him on the pitch. As I said, we did it against St Mirren where we were determined to get the goal, so we went with two up and had Scott coming in off the right hand side, so we could still have two midfielders getting on the ball and create space for Scott, and it worked a treat. On Saturday, worked better for Flo and probably out Flo's game more than Scott's.
What can you tell Hibs fans about our new Swedish signing?
Yeah, well, lots. So as a player, then what have we seen? So the guys flagged him up last season. So he actually came over and looked around the club and the training ground and everything a long time ago. You know, someone who we've been trying to get for a long time, but we just weren't in a position, and he's had to help make it happen, which is great. Technically a very good player, can get about the pitch, really good pedigree, you know, Sweden national setup all the way through to 21's, got a move to Italy when he was young, and he might say now I probably left and went there when I was a bit too young, so he's trying to get back on the ladder, get the next move to be the right move, which is why I wanted to come here. He's adamant and really determined to climb those levels again and get in the national team and things like that. So we've got a hungry player, as I said, technically good, who can get about the pitch, handle the ball, and tactically is good as well. You know, so we're pleased that we've got him. In terms of where he's at now, again, he's not played any games. He's come in looking really, really fit. You can see he's probably a naturally fit boy, but also worked hard. But just like the boys who missed pre-season, they're going to have to learn on the job and get the fitness in the games, which is not ideal for us as a first team, because we know we're putting players out there who aren't yet at the peak of powers. But likewise, we can do all the running in the world with them. We need to get them fit and get them games. So he could be another one learning on the job and getting the last bit of fitness in the games.
And last season, we went through a real good spell. It was 10 games unbeaten, and a big part of that was real consistency of the team and the lack of changes to start 11. How frustrating is it that injuries and people missing pre-season has meant that you've not been able to do that yet?
Yeah, it is frustrating, especially when I think at the back and also you're putting players in then and asking. So don't forget Louis Stevenson not done a single thing pre-season, a single minute of football. We actually threw him into a cup game to a need and he ended up playing 120 minutes, so he needs a big pat on the back for that. That's the thing, it's not ideal when you're asking boys to come and do that because of the nature of the injuries, the fact they're all in similar positions, the fact that people coming in not played pre-season, has all meant that, especially at the back, we've not been able to be really stable and strong. It's not ideal, but you have to get on with it. We had injuries last year. And ultimately it'll be down to the players and their performances. We want big players to have big performances. So we have to get the players and get them to realise that your levels have to be right up there if you want to win.
This question probably getting a bit repetitive now, but is that the end of Hibs dealings in the transfer market?
I can just keep giving the same answer, can't I? Yeah, and then someone signs it, so
Exactly.
I'm just going to keep saying the same, yeah.
Okay. And then finally, just looking ahead to the weekend's game, Motherwell, what sort of game are you expecting from them?
A very tough one. I like how they play, I like what they do. That they've lost some players, but recruited really well, and I think that's been a common theme for them over the years, especially the last 3 or 4, recruited really well. And they seem to have done that again, so I'm expecting a really tough game. Tough place to go anyway, traditionally a tough place to go. They're going to be a team wanting to compete with us, definitely. So we're prepared for a real tough game.